Hello everyone, welcome to the Pagan Perspective. My name is Tatiana, this is Subs Week, and this week we're talking about the animal totems. Our question this week comes from Gregory, and he wants to know what we think of and how we work with the animal totems. Well, I was super excited when Cara told us this would be our subject this month, because I absolutely love to study and work with the animal totems. Some people prefer to call them animal spirit, spirit animals, power animals. These are all good ways to refer to the same thing, which is animal totems. So to begin this, I thought I'd share with you my understanding of the different types of animals. I'll just call them animals for short. The different types of animals that one might encounter through their life. And after that, I'll move on to explain how I work with them. So if you are already familiarized with the different types of animals and you'd prefer to hear what I have to say about how I work with them, just click here or stay with me. In my understanding, there are 4 types of animals. The first one is the permanent animal, the one that will be with you through your whole life, from birth till the day you have to leave. It's usually easy to identify your permanent animal, which might be one animal, or I've heard some people have 2 permanent animals. I'm not sure if anyone has more than 2 permanent animals, but it's usually easy to identify them because you feel a strong energy link to them. You easily identify with them, with their external appearance, with their behavior. And while they certainly are teachers, the permanent animals, they are also growing with you. They learn as you learn. They grow as you grow. Then there are the temporary animals. Well, the temporary animals are with you for a certain amount of time, which might be a few days to a few months or maybe a few years. They have a mission with you. They have something to offer. It might be a lesson, it might be some sort of medicine, energy medicine, spiritual medicine, and they will be with you until you've accepted what they have to offer. Once their job's done, they will be gone. I've heard people talk about temporary animals that keep coming back to them. To that I have my personal opinion. Maybe a temporary animal that keeps coming back to you has more relevance in your life than simply being a temporary animal with a mission. I think that there are animals that choose to be with you at certain times and then go away for a bit at other times, so you can see how you do without them, and they can also see how you are doing without them. Or it might be the case that the person's actions and thoughts are actually pushing that animal away. Like a message you don't want to listen to, a lesson you don't want to learn, something about yourself that it's hard to admit. Maybe there's a hard lesson that this animal's trying to teach you. It could be that this is your shadow animal, because your shadow animal, it's an interesting one. It seems at first to be working against you because you fear them so much, but in time, as you learn to understand them, they will work in your favor, for you, with you, and lend you their power. The shadow animal reflects, it's like a mirror. It reflects your deepest fears, things that you have to overcome at some point for your own good. So they are very intriguing animals, not easy at all to deal with, and they can certainly play a very meaningful role in your life if you let them. And then the fourth type I'd like to mention is the messenger. The messenger is very punctual in action. They come in quickly and leave quickly. They usually have an obvious message, like in your face message, and it might be something very calming and happy. They might bring you a message from someone you love, from someone who unfortunately is not here anymore in this earthly existence. Or they might shake you on your tracks and try to steer you away from danger, to steer you away from wrong choices, or from people that are not so good to you. And yeah, they do that and they leave. And now on to how I work with the animals. My favorite way of working with them is through journey work. If you are not familiar with journey work, it's sort of like meditation, but with a very active mind and expanded awareness. It's almost like lucid dreaming. Some people use the word trance to describe the state you're in, the space you're in when you are in journey work, but I myself don't like that word very much, and I'll explain later in this video why I don't like the word trance. My first experience with journey work was through this book, with this quite peculiar cover. I guess my first lesson in journey work was also a lesson on how to not judge a book by its cover. I was at a second-hand bookshop, and the shop owner insisted that I brought this book home. And it was so cheap, I was like, oh, okay. But I was pleasantly surprised to find that the contents are so well researched and it's so nicely organized. And it was the first time that I read about journey work. And even though the author, Anthony Duncan, who's here as well, he does not talk about shamanic journey work. He mainly talks about journey work to the other world and meeting the archetypes. Even though it's not about the animal totems, I realized pretty soon that I myself was getting, for the first time, involved with the animals. During journey work, these creatures, these little animals, would come and talk to me and give me messages that would have me later thinking about what on earth was that and what does that mean. And it was very exciting and very mysterious. That got me hooked. Okay, so to explain a bit more about this active imagination space you're in when you're in journey work, that's sort of like lucid dreaming. It's a space that's composed of one's own conscious thoughts, but it also brings up soul aspects that may have been dormant for some time, maybe for a long time. So the journey work gives you an opportunity to connect with those assets and to bring them to the surface where you can reflect on them and work with them. In the case of shamanic journey work, you may decide to enter this space with an animal in your mind, which might be your permanent animal, a temporary animal that's meaningful to you at that moment, or a messenger that you might have come across during your day that you felt symbolizes something, and what these animals can do for you beyond getting you in touch with your unconscious self. They can also bring you messages, bring you warnings, they can answer questions, they can bring new questions, which is also interesting. They can bring you medicine, energetic and spiritual medicine. But another option is to enter this space with no particular animal in mind, but willing to encounter whatever animal that reaches out to you. Traditional shamanic journey uses drumming to guide people into this imagination active, meditative space. And for me personally, the drumming is not always very helpful. There's a time and a place for drumming when it comes to me. I quite like, for example, to go drumming in nature, where you can easily connect with the elementals around you through the sound of that rhythm of the drum. But when I am entering journey work, it can be distracting, it can be a bit annoying. I have very sensitive hearing, so it's a personal thing, I tend to use instrumental music. I have this terrible new age CD. Well, it's not terrible, it's actually a very nice CD with instrumental music and sounds of the nature. And I've had it for such a long time, the poor thing's falling apart, and the music in this CD is actually quite helpful for me, and I use it all the time. So if you enjoy drumming, go with drumming, and if you don't like drumming, you will find an alternative. Maybe go out in nature and listen to the sounds of nature, or use silence just like you do with meditation. One thing that I find extremely important to stress is that once you're in journey work, you are in full control of what's going on. You must tailor your experience in a way that benefits you. And I say this because sometimes in journey work, you will encounter situations or animals that may be a bit overwhelming. They might come on too strong on you, are trying to bite you, or they are wrapping themselves around you and you think this is too much. You are in full control of what's going on. Don't let your dream turn into a nightmare and leave you traumatized. I think journey work is such a wonderful experience, and so many good things can come to you. And this is why I don't like the word trance, because I may be wrong, but the word trance makes me think of someone that's in a state of mind and they are not fully in control of what's going on. If it happens to you that an animal is coming on too strong to you and it's too much, the animals, they mean well. Maybe their messages are a bit brutal at times, but if that's the case, just tell them to back away, to take things slower. This medicine is not working for you in that manner, and you're not understanding the message in that manner, and they will understand and respect you. Once you've completed the work, you will want to come out towards your daily mind. Make sure to eat something to ground yourself, wiggle your fingers, touch your face, touch your body, and make sure to have pen and paper to write down everything from your experience, and keep a journal of journey work. That's a very interesting option. Okay, so this was a very long video. I'm sorry for that. Thank you very much for those who stayed with me and watched the whole thing. I think I got a bit carried away because this is a topic I like so much, and there's so much more to talk about, but maybe some other time. Other people in the channel have already talked about animals, the animal totems, so you can do some research. I'll leave instructions in the description bar of how you can research in our channel. And yeah, this is it for now. So I'll see you soon. Bye bye.